Welcome to Arise Prime Time. I'm Charles Enye-Golden. Now let's ditch the spin and get to the heart of the news with our commentator who will give us her personal take on the news and issues of the day. And today we have the journalist, political affairs commentator and Arise News analyst, Dr. Constance Ikokwu. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Pleased to be here.
Let me start with Senator Shehu Sani, who was fairly scathing in his criticism of the record of the Buhari administration. I mean, what did you make of his assessment?
I think that he spoke the mind of many Nigerians. The administration is coming to an end, and people are sort of reviewing what has happened. And some would say that the president's performance is far below expectations. Of course, his handlers or his supporters might also counter and argue that the expectations in the beginning were unrealistic. They may also come up with the argument that there are a number of reasons why he hasn't been able to do what was expected of him or what he had promised. For instance, he was sick and so he was incapable, or that the government was hijacked by a cabal, the so-called cabal.
Well, they wouldn't say that, but other people would.
Well, yes.
I mean, they wouldn't admit they were hijacked by a cabal, would they?
Right, but the thing is, you are the president. If you feel that you're not in a position to take up the job and do what you're expected to do, then you have the choice to resign. A lot of people before he came into power saw him as an untainted man, as an action man, as someone that was forthright and upright and could do no harm. In fact, Buhari was someone that people thought was a self-styled, strong military man. And so when he came into power, he would do wonders. At this point, the man has been totally demystified. Everything that people thought about him, if he did not become president in Nigeria, some would have said, oh, Buhari was a president we never had, a great, wonderful one that we missed. Here you go, we've had him for 8 years, and I don't think that they will say the same thing. Yeah,
some would argue, though, that he faced quite enormous crises after he came to office. I mean, you had the COVID crisis, you had the Ukraine war. I mean, these are kind of, oppressive crises that are hitting the country from all sides. And that was what, to some extent, forced him to try and raise money in order to alleviate the extent of poverty unleashed by those crises.
Well, you can, of course, marshal that argument, or that's, another opinion. But that was in his second term. He already had 4 years, the first term. These things have happened in his second term. A whole 8 years is a long time in the life of a nation. So any misstep that occurs has profound consequences for the country, and that is why we are where we are. And there is a problem also of Nigerians thinking that they prefer a military man that is a strong man that can whip out a wand and get everything solved. Now we know better that it doesn't work that way. The other thing is that when you are the president, you have the choice, or it's your choice to pick the kind of people that can work with you and the kind of people that will deliver the goods to the people. It doesn't seem that that has happened. Yes, you might say that he has done well infrastructure-wise. Some railway projects were completed from the last administration. Some roads were completed. But that shouldn't be the standard or the yardstick. Those things are very basic. By the way, we're borrowing money anyway to do those things. People want improvement in their lives. Yes, roads are necessary, infrastructure necessary for the improvement of the economy. But what is the quality of life that you are living for the people economic-wise? All those things are questions that deserve to be asked.
Yeah, that's a good point. And of course, in the wake of that, we've got Bola Tinubu coming in next Monday. He will be sworn in as the president-elect. But Shehu Sani also pointed to the legacy of this last election. One of it has been profound disunity, the impact that it's had on the country, and the fact that people see that election as kind of because of how badly they think it went, that it's symbolic of a defective and dysfunctional government. And that makes his job much more difficult, doesn't it?
A lot of people will agree with him. The problem also we have is that the process of electing or selecting leaders is deeply flawed. In that circumstance, you have all manner of people that have no business being in government becoming leaders. I will not use the word leaders, I will use the word rulers. Because you are in position of authority, you're not actually leading anyone. You are leading yourself. And when you look at this present administration, the attitude to the people is an utter disregard. You're being paid by the state to govern. You fly around the world, everything is taken care of. But the people that you're supposed to govern, you behave like you owe them nothing. It's like you're not serving them. You know, you're an emperor, and that's the air that you give out. That is very, very wrong. Yes, Bola Tinubu has his hands full. I mean, the job is cut out for him when he comes into power. It's the same government. However, you might also remember that when President Muhammadu Buhari was running for re-election, the same Bola Tinubu said that if the president was in a wheelchair, he would support him. So they belong to the same party. He is what was part of the people that helped this government to come into power. So it's his burden to carry. Now he has the option of turning it around, which will not be easy, but you know, he can do as much as he can. So let's watch and see how things evolve.
Right, and talking about responsibility to people and whether those responsibilities were carried out, we had the PDP in Imo State having their right to reply to an interview given by someone who was from the APC last Friday. And their argument was, in their assessment of the performance of Hope Uzodinma, the governor there, was that things have just gone completely topsy-turvy. I mean, what comes to mind for you as you had that piece of sort of conversation there?
Well, first of all, that guy was smoking hot. Whoever made him the spokesperson did a good job. So, well, he's in the opposition, so it's his job to tear apart everything that the government in power says. But Imo particularly is distressing. And that is what happens when the will of the people is superimposed with the will of whoever, you know, is at the top. I think that when the elections occurred, Imo people did not vote for, you know, this current governor, Senator Hope Uzodinma. We all saw how eventually he became the governor. That caused a lot of problems. So there is also an aspect of total rascality from political opponents, not bearing in mind that you are in a state and people have to live peacefully. So most of them are settling political scars to the detriment of the people. That is very, very wrong. You know,
so you find fault with both sides?
Of course.
Yeah.
It also boils down to the character of the people that get into power. Who is the person that is the leader? Who is the person that is the governor? What is his pedigree? Where is he coming from? A lot of these people should not be in government. If you are truly serving the people, or you really want to work in the interest of the people, you should look at being harmonious. Why not unite the states, you know, both sides, unite the states and decide that it is about the people and not about us, the political leaders. And so that's what we're seeing in Imo State, and it is very, very sad.
I want to thank you very much indeed. It's always a delight getting your assessment of things. Dr. Constance Ikokwu is a journalist, political affairs commentator, and Arise News analyst. Thank you.
You're welcome, Charles.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja and Kaduna, bye-bye, and thank you for watching.